In a small, busy city, there was a little food stall called Mina's Kitchen. It stood on a narrow street squeezed between tall buildings with only a small sign above it that read, Mina's Kitchen. The stall was simple, made of wood and metal, and had 2 small tables for customers. It was not fancy, but it was full of warmth. The stall was run by Mina, a young woman with a bright smile and hard-working hands. She loved cooking more than anything else. From the time she was a little girl, she had dreamed of opening her own restaurant. Her mother used to tell her, "Mina, one day your food will make people happy." Mina remembered those words every day as she stirred pots, chopped vegetables, and mixed spices. But life was not easy. Mina had spent all her savings to rent the stall. Every day she worked from early morning to late night. She woke up before sunrise to prepare fresh ingredients. She cooked in her tiny kitchen, washed dishes, cleaned tables, and served customers with a smile, even when her feet ached and her arms felt heavy. The city was busy, and competition was tough. Many food stalls sold cheaper meals or had bigger signs. Mina's small stall often went unnoticed. Some days, only a few people came to eat. Other days, the stall was crowded, but the money earned was never enough. Mina tried not to worry, but the bills and rent were always on her mind. One evening, after a long day of cooking and cleaning, Mina sat on the small stool behind her stall. She looked at the few coins in her hand. Her heart sank. The coins were not enough to buy ingredients for the next day. She counted them carefully. $10. That was all she had left. She sighed. "This might be it," she whispered softly. "I don't think I can keep going tomorrow." Mina looked at the small pot of soup simmering on the stove. It was her favorite recipe, made with vegetables, spices, and a little chicken. The smell filled the street. People walking by turned their heads, smelling the aroma, but they walked on. Mina felt a pang of sadness. She thought about her dream of having a restaurant. She had imagined it so many times. A big place with shiny tables, happy customers, and people lining up to taste her food. But that dream seemed far away now. Her savings were gone, the stall barely made money, and the city was too big for one small chef to be noticed. The sun set, and the city lights began to glow. Cars honked in the distance. The smell of Mina's cooking drifted through the air. Then from across the street a figure appeared. It was an old man walking slowly. His clothes were worn and faded. His shoes were dusty, and his hat was pulled down low over his head. His face was lined with age and hardship. He moved carefully, stopping to rest at each step. When he reached Mina's stall, he looked at the pot of soup and then at her with gentle eyes. "Excuse me, miss," he said in a soft, tired voice. "I have not eaten for 2 days. Could I please have something to eat? I have no money, but I will be thankful for even a small meal." Mina's heart ached. She looked at him and then at her last bowl of soup. She was hungry too, but she could not ignore the man. Her hand shook as she ladled the soup into a bowl and added a small piece of bread on the side. "Please sit down," she said with a warm smile. "You will have a full meal tonight." The old man's eyes widened in surprise. He sat carefully at one of the small tables. Mina handed him the bowl. She watched quietly as he took his first spoonful. The warmth of the soup seemed to reach his heart. He closed his eyes and breathed in the aroma. "This is wonderful," he said softly. "I have not tasted anything this good in many years. You cook with love, and that is something rare." Mina smiled faintly. "I am glad you like it," she said. She felt a strange happiness watching him eat. Even though she had nothing left, giving him her last meal made her feel peaceful. After a while, the old man finished the soup. He looked at Mina and nodded. "You have a kind heart," he said. "Kindness like yours always comes back to you." Mina felt her eyes water. She wanted to say more, but she had nothing left to offer. She only nodded and whispered, "Thank you for saying that." The old man stood slowly. "Good night, Mina," he said gently. Then he walked away, disappearing into the quiet city streets. Mina watched him go. She felt a mixture of sadness and hope. She had given her last meal to a stranger, and she had nothing left for herself. Her stall was empty, her savings were gone, and tomorrow seemed uncertain. That night, Mina closed the stall for the last time. She cleaned the tables, washed the utensils, and switched off the small stove. She sat on her stool and looked at the dark street. Her dream felt far away, but in her heart a small light remained. She had done what she could. She had shown kindness, and that mattered more than money. As she walked home, Mina thought about the old man. She did not know his name or where he had come from. She only knew that he had been hungry and alone, and she had helped him. It felt good to help someone, even when she had nothing left for herself. The next morning, Mina did not know that her small act of kindness had already begun to change her life. The old man she had fed was not just any hungry stranger. He was Daniel Reed, one of the most famous food critics in the world. His words had the power to make or break restaurants. He had been traveling the city to find new flavors and hidden talent. Daniel had been impressed by Mina's cooking, but more than that, he was touched by her generosity. In his long life, he had eaten at many restaurants and reviewed countless chefs. He had seen people who cooked with skill and people who cooked with passion, but he had rarely met someone who gave their best even when they had nothing left. Mina had done exactly that. Daniel did not reveal himself that night. He only left quietly with a promise to return. In his mind, he planned to find Mina again and share her story with the world. He wanted everyone to know about the young chef who cooked with love and gave her last meal to a stranger. Meanwhile, Mina went home. She cooked a small dinner for herself, but the kitchen felt empty. She knew she might have to close the stall soon, but she did not feel regret. She had done her best. She had given hope to someone who needed it. And in that hope, she found a little comfort. The next days were hard. Mina continued to work at her small stall. She still had very little money and customers were slow. But she remembered the old man's words, "Kindness always comes back." She held on to that thought. Little did she know, her life was about to change in ways she could never imagine. The world of fine dining, reviews, and recognition would soon discover Mina's hidden talent. But before that happened, she had to keep believing in herself and in her cooking. Every day she stirred her pots, chopped her vegetables, and served her customers with a smile. Even when her hands were tired and her feet ached, she remembered why she started. She remembered her dream of opening a restaurant where people could taste food made with love. She remembered the warmth she felt when she fed the old man, and she knew deep inside that no matter how hard life became, she would never stop cooking with her heart. The city streets were busy again the next morning. People hurried to work, children walked to school, and cars honked as they moved through traffic. Mina opened her small stall once more. She arranged the few fresh ingredients she had left and cleaned the small tables. Her hands were worn, but she worked with a steady rhythm. Even though business was slow, Mina tried to stay positive. She served the customers who came with a smile and offered them the best food she could make. Some days, a few regulars came and praised her dishes, and that brought her a small joy. But she still worried about the future. Rent was due soon, and the money was almost gone. Meanwhile, across the city, Daniel Reed was thinking about the young chef he had met. He could not stop thinking about her kindness and her cooking. He remembered the way she had served him the last bowl of soup, and how she had smiled even when she had nothing left for herself. Daniel had traveled the world, tasting food from many countries, reviewing famous restaurants, and writing for popular magazines. He had seen talented chefs in famous kitchens, but he rarely found someone who cooked with such heart. Mina was different. He knew he had to help her. That afternoon, Daniel put on a simple coat and hat to disguise himself. He wanted to return to Mina's stall without making her nervous. He walked quietly through the streets, following the smell of her cooking. When he reached her stall, he paused for a moment, watching her work. Mina did not recognize him at first. He looked like an ordinary man. She smiled politely as he approached the counter. "Good afternoon, miss," he said. "I was passing by and thought I would try your food again." Mina nodded, her eyes polite but tired. "Of course. Please have a seat." "What would you like?" "I would like the vegetable soup, please," he said. "And a small piece of bread if you have any." Mina quickly prepared the meal. She noticed that this customer seemed gentle and calm. She handed him the bowl and watched as he tasted the soup. "Delicious," he said softly. "You put something special into this food. It is not just taste. It is warmth. It reminds me of home." Mina felt a small smile appear on her face. She had worked so hard, and hearing this made her heart feel lighter. She had not realized how much her cooking meant to someone else. After he finished eating, Daniel looked at her and said, "May I ask you something? How long have you been running this kitchen?" "About 3 years," Mina replied. "It has been very hard. I love cooking, but it is not easy to survive in the city with a small stall." Daniel nodded. He wanted to reveal his identity, but he did not want to scare her. Instead, he asked questions about her recipes, the ingredients she used, and the stories behind her dishes. Mina spoke with passion. She told him about her mother teaching her how to cook, about the spices she loved, and the little tricks she learned to make her food taste special. Daniel listened carefully. He could see the effort and love in every word. After a while, he left, smiling gently. He had learned enough to know that Mina's cooking deserved more than just a small street stall. Over the next few days, Daniel returned several times, each time enjoying Mina's food and observing her carefully. He took notes quietly, thinking about how to help her. He wanted her talent to be recognized, but he also wanted to make sure she was ready for it. He admired her courage and determination. Mina, on the other hand, noticed that the man visited often, but she did not know why. Sometimes he came and ate quietly. Sometimes he asked questions about her cooking. She began to look forward to his visits. His words encouraged her, and she felt a spark of hope that things might change. One day, while Mina was preparing lunch for her few customers, Daniel finally revealed a part of his identity. "Miss Mina," he said gently. "My name is Daniel Reed. I write for a food magazine. I have traveled the world reviewing restaurants. I have never met a chef like you." Mina froze. She had heard of Daniel Reed. He was a famous food critic, respected and feared in the culinary world. One word from him could change the life of a chef completely. You are Daniel Reed?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Yes," he said with a kind smile. "I am very impressed by your cooking. Not just your skill, but your heart. You give your best even when you have almost nothing. That is rare, and it should be known." Mina could not believe her ears. Her heart raced. She had dreamed of recognition, but never imagined it would come from someone like him. She felt both nervous and excited. Daniel continued, "I want to help you, Mina. Your talent should not go unnoticed. I would like to feature your kitchen in my magazine. People should know about your food, your story, and your kindness." Mina felt tears fill her eyes. She had worked so hard, faced so many challenges, and now someone like Daniel wanted to help her. She nodded, barely able to speak. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Say yes," Daniel said gently. "Say yes and let the world taste your food." For the first time in a long time, Mina felt a wave of hope. She agreed, and Daniel promised to come back with a photographer and a team from the magazine. He explained that the article would tell her story and showcase her cooking. People from all over the city and even from other countries would read about Mina's kitchen. The next days were busy for Mina, but this time it was different. She felt a new energy as she cooked. She cleaned the stall carefully, prepared fresh ingredients, and tried new recipes. Daniel came several times to taste the dishes and to guide her. His advice was gentle but helpful. Mina listened carefully, learning small tips that could make her cooking even better. When the day of the photo shoot arrived, Mina felt nervous but excited. Daniel's team arrived early in the morning. The photographer set up cameras and the magazine writer took notes. They asked Mina to prepare her signature dishes, including the vegetable soup that had impressed Daniel so much. Mina worked quickly but carefully. She chopped vegetables, stirred sauces, and arranged the plates beautifully. She explained to the team how she made each dish and why she used certain ingredients. Her passion shone through in every word, and Daniel watched with pride. After the photo shoot, Daniel thanked Mina for her patience and her wonderful cooking. "You have done beautifully," he said. "I am proud to share your story with the world." Mina smiled, feeling a mix of relief and happiness. For the first time, she realized that her hard work and kindness had not gone unnoticed. The magazine would soon reach thousands of readers, and many people would come to taste her food. That evening, Mina closed the stall with a light heart. She knew that her life was about to change. She remembered the day she gave her last meal to the homeless man and realized that small acts of kindness could bring unexpected rewards. She felt grateful, hopeful, and ready for the new chapter in her life. Daniel left the stall quietly, satisfied that he had found a hidden gem in the city. He knew that Mina's journey was just beginning. Her food, her passion, and her heart would inspire many, and he was happy to be part of that story, and so, the little food stall that seemed ordinary to everyone else became a place of hope, dreams, and the beginning of something extraordinary. Mina's life, which had been filled with struggle, was now filled with promise. She had given her best, shown kindness, and now the world was ready to see her shine. After the magazine article was published, Mina's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. Early one morning, she opened Mina's kitchen as usual, expecting only a few regular customers. Instead, she was greeted by a long line of people waiting outside her small stall. Some had read the article in the magazine. Others had heard about her from friends. Everyone wanted to taste the food that had impressed Daniel Reed, the famous food critic. Mina stood behind her counter, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. She could not believe what she saw. People were smiling, chatting, and eagerly waiting to try her dishes. Her small kitchen suddenly felt full of energy. She smiled, trying to stay calm as she prepared the first orders. "Welcome. Please have a seat," she said warmly. She worked quickly, stirring the soups, cooking vegetables, and arranging plates. Her hands moved fast but carefully as she wanted each meal to be perfect. The customers tasted her food and smiled. Many of them praised the flavors, the freshness, and the warmth of her cooking. Some even came back for a second serving. Mina felt proud and happy. She had dreamed of this moment for so long, but now it was real. Meanwhile, Daniel returned to the stall to see the results of his article. He watched from a corner as Mina worked tirelessly, serving each customer with care and attention. He smiled quietly. He knew she had talent, but seeing her succeed in front of so many people made him feel proud. One young woman in the line approached Daniel. "Excuse me, sir," she said. "Are you the famous food critic? I read your article about this place. You are responsible for this long line." Daniel smiled. "I am Daniel Reed, yes. But the credit belongs to the chef. Mina made all this possible with her amazing cooking and her heart." The young woman nodded. "Her food is wonderful. I've never tasted anything like it. I will definitely come again." Back in the stall, Mina noticed that her business was growing every hour. She worked tirelessly, but the energy from her customers and their kind words kept her going. She felt a happiness she had never known before. For the first time, her hard work was being recognized, and it felt amazing. As the days passed, more and more people came to Mina's kitchen. Local newspapers wrote small articles about her, and social media users shared pictures of her dishes. Mina began to feel that her dream of running a successful food business was finally coming true. She could not believe how quickly things had changed. Despite the busy days, Mina remained humble and kind. She remembered the old man she had fed when she had nothing left. His words of encouragement had stayed in her heart. She knew that no matter how popular she became, she wanted to keep the same care and warmth in her cooking. One afternoon, a group of young chefs visited her stall. They were curious to meet Mina and learn about her cooking. They asked questions about her recipes, her ingredients, and the way she prepared each dish. Mina was happy to share her knowledge. She explained her methods carefully and gave advice gently. The young chefs were impressed by her skill and her generosity. "Your food is not just delicious," one of them said. "It is filled with love. That is why people keep coming back." Mina smiled, feeling her heart swell with pride. She realized that her cooking was not just about feeding people. It was about connecting with them, making them feel happy and sharing a little piece of her heart. Daniel continued to visit the stall, offering advice and encouragement. He helped her improve her recipes, suggested small changes to the presentation of her dishes, and introduced her to other chefs and food enthusiasts. Mina learned quickly, absorbing every tip and applying it to her cooking. One day, Daniel surprised her with news that made her eyes widen. "Mina," he said, "there is an opportunity for you to participate in a citywide cooking competition. Many talented chefs will be there, but I believe you can shine. Your story and your cooking are extraordinary." Mina felt nervous. She had never participated in a competition before. She worried that she might not be good enough. But Daniel encouraged her gently. "You have something no one else has. You cook with heart and kindness. That is more important than fancy techniques. Believe in yourself." After thinking for a while, Mina agreed. She wanted to try, not for fame or money, but to show her cooking to more people. She worked hard to prepare for the competition. Every day she experimented with new recipes, refined her favorite dishes, and practiced her presentation. She wanted everything to be perfect. The day of the competition arrived. Mina walked into the large hall where many chefs had gathered. The room was filled with the smell of spices, fresh ingredients, and hot food. Mina felt nervous as she set up her small station. She looked around and saw other chefs preparing complicated dishes with fancy techniques and expensive ingredients. She felt a moment of doubt but remembered Daniel's words, I cook with heart, she whispered to herself. That is my strength. The competition began. Mina worked quickly but carefully. She prepared her signature vegetable soup, a dish of roasted vegetables with fresh herbs, and a small dessert that she had perfected over months. She explained each dish to the judges with confidence and warmth. She shared the story behind the vegetable soup and how it had been her last meal when she had almost given up. The judges listened carefully, tasting each dish. They were impressed by the flavors, the freshness of the ingredients, and the balance of every bite. But more than that, they were touched by the story behind the food. Mina's passion and kindness shone through every plate. When the results were announced, Mina could hardly believe her ears. She had won first place. Her stall had been small, her resources limited, but her talent and heart had made her stand out among many skilled chefs. She felt tears fill her eyes as the audience applauded. Daniel smiled proudly from the corner. He had believed in her from the beginning, and now the world was starting to see her true talent. After the competition, Mina returned to her stall, where a line of customers had already formed. People wanted to taste the food made by the chef who had won the citywide competition. Mina felt a wave of gratitude and joy. She realized that her life had truly changed. Her hard work, perseverance, and kindness had opened the door to new opportunities. Even with her success, Mina remained humble. She continued to cook with love, serve her customers with care, and share her knowledge with anyone willing to learn. She knew that fame and recognition were wonderful, but the true reward was in making people happy through her food. In the weeks that followed, Mina's kitchen became famous throughout the city. People came from far and wide to taste her dishes. Local television stations featured her story, praising her talent, her kindness, and her determination. Mina felt proud, but she never forgot where she started. She remembered the struggles, the long hours, and the moments of doubt. She remembered giving her last meal to a stranger and the unexpected way it had changed her life. Daniel continued to support her, introducing her to more chefs, helping her improve her business, and sharing her story with the world. Mina learned that success was not just about talent, but also about relationships, guidance, and the willingness to keep learning. One evening, after a long day of cooking and serving customers, Mina sat outside her stall looking at the lights of the city. She felt peaceful. She had faced many challenges, worked tirelessly, and never given up. Her dream of running a successful food stall had come true, and she knew that even greater opportunities awaited her. Mina smiled to herself. She had started with nothing but passion and determination. Now she had recognition, respect, and a growing community of people who loved her food. She realized that her journey was just beginning, and she was ready for whatever came next. Her small food stall, once unnoticed and struggling, had become a place of hope, inspiration, and delicious food. Mina had proven that with heart, kindness, and perseverance, even the smallest dreams could grow into something extraordinary. And so Mina's life had transformed. The little chef who once gave her last meal to a stranger had now captured the hearts of a city. She had found her place in the world not just through cooking, but through the love and care she put into every dish. After winning the citywide cooking competition, Mina's life was filled with new opportunities. The small food stall she had run alone for years was now crowded every day with customers from all over the city. People came not just to taste her dishes, but to hear the story of the young chef who had given her last meal to a stranger and never lost hope. Even with her new success, Mina remained humble. She worked just as hard as she had before. She chopped vegetables, stirred soups, and arranged plates with care. Every dish that left her kitchen carried the same love and warmth that she had always put into her cooking. Daniel Reed continued to guide her. He introduced her to other food critics, local chefs, and business experts who could help her expand. He encouraged her to think bigger than a small stall, to imagine a place where more people could enjoy her food. Mina felt nervous but excited. She had dreamed of owning a restaurant, but now it seemed possible. One morning, Daniel arrived with a folder in his hand. He sat with Mina at a small table outside the stall. "Mina, I have some exciting news," he said with a smile. "A group of investors read my article and wants to help you open a real restaurant. They are impressed with your talent and your story. They want to give you a chance to grow." Mina felt a mix of joy and disbelief. "A restaurant?" she whispered. "I have always dreamed of it, but I never thought it could happen so soon." Daniel nodded. It will be a lot of work, but I believe you are ready. You have the talent, the heart, and the determination. People love your food and your story. Now it is time to reach even more people. Mina agreed, though her mind was full of questions. She had never managed a large kitchen before. She had never hired staff or worked with investors. Everything about a restaurant was new to her. But Daniel promised to guide her every step of the way. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Mina visited potential locations for the restaurant, tasting the spaces, imagining the layout, and thinking about how to make it feel warm and welcoming. She worked with designers to plan the kitchen and the dining area. Every detail mattered to her, from the colors on the walls to the arrangement of tables. She wanted the restaurant to feel like home for every customer who came. She also hired a small team of staff. Some were young chefs eager to learn, and others were servers who shared her passion for good food and kindness. Mina trained them herself, teaching them not only recipes but also how to treat customers with care. She wanted every person who walked into her restaurant to feel special, just as she had always believed. During this busy time, Mina never forgot her old food stall. She often returned to it early in the morning to cook a few meals for regular customers who had supported her from the beginning. She wanted to thank them and show that she had not forgotten her roots. Daniel continued to support her. He offered advice on menu design, pricing, and presentation. He also helped her organize a small opening event to introduce the restaurant to the public. Mina felt nervous as the day approached, but she was also filled with hope. Finally, the opening day arrived. Mina stood at the entrance of the new restaurant, a beautiful space with warm lights, wooden tables, and a kitchen that smelled of fresh ingredients and spices. She wore her favorite apron, and her hair was tied neatly. She took a deep breath and smiled. The doors opened and people began to arrive. Some had read the magazine article, some had heard about her on social media, and others came out of curiosity. The restaurant quickly filled with laughter, conversation, and the smell of food. Mina worked tirelessly, cooking, plating, and ensuring that every dish was perfect. The customers were amazed. The vegetable soup that had first impressed Daniel Reed was now served in larger bowls with fresh bread and a sprinkle of herbs. The roasted vegetables, the small desserts, and the special sauces all delighted the guests. People complimented the flavors, the freshness, and the warmth of every dish. One of the young chefs she had trained said, "Mina, this is incredible. You have taken something small and made it extraordinary. Your heart shows in every dish." Mina smiled, feeling her eyes fill with tears. She thought about the journey that had brought her here. The struggles, the long hours, the small food stall, and the homeless man she had helped had all led to this moment. She realized that kindness, passion, and perseverance had made her dream come true. Daniel watched from a corner, proud of how far she had come. He knew that Mina's story would inspire many people. Her journey was not just about cooking. It was about hope, determination, and the power of giving even when one has little. As the evening continued, Mina walked through the restaurant, talking to customers, answering questions, and sharing stories behind her dishes. She noticed that people were smiling, laughing, and enjoying themselves. The atmosphere was warm, friendly, and full of life. Mina felt a deep sense of satisfaction. One customer, a young man with his family, approached her. "Your food is amazing," he said. "It is not just the taste, but the care you put into it. My children love the vegetable soup. Thank you for making this experience so special." Mina bowed slightly and said, "Thank you. It makes me happy to see you all enjoy it." The night ended with applause from the guests and warm congratulations from her staff. Mina felt tired but joyful. She knew that this was only the beginning. The restaurant would grow, her recipes would reach more people, and her story would continue to inspire others. After closing the restaurant, Mina sat quietly in the kitchen. She looked at the empty tables, the clean countertops, and the pots she had used throughout the day. A sense of pride and gratitude filled her heart. She thought about the day she gave her last meal to the homeless man, and realized how much that small act of kindness had changed her life. She whispered softly to herself, "I started with nothing, but I never gave up. I kept my heart in every dish. And now here I am." Daniel entered the kitchen quietly. "Mina, you did beautifully today," he said. "I knew you had something special, and now everyone can see it." Mina smiled. "Thank you, Daniel. I could not have done it without your support. But more than anything, I am grateful for the chance to share my food and my story with the world." Daniel nodded. "This is just the beginning. Your restaurant will continue to grow. People will come from far and wide. Your heart and your cooking will inspire many. Mina felt hopeful. She knew that challenges would come, but she also knew that she was ready. She had learned that success was not just about skill, but about kindness, perseverance, and staying true to oneself. As she turned off the lights in the kitchen and stepped outside, Mina looked at the city lights shining brightly. She felt a sense of peace and happiness. She had achieved her dream, but more importantly, she had done so by staying true to her values. Her journey from a small food stall to a successful restaurant had been filled with struggle, determination, and unexpected kindness. She realized that the world could be full of opportunities if one remained hopeful and worked hard. And so, Mina's restaurant became a place not only for delicious food but for warmth, inspiration, and hope. The little chef who had once given her last meal to a stranger had now created a space where dreams could grow, hearts could be touched, and people could come together to enjoy food made with love. Mina knew that her life had changed forever. She had achieved success, gained recognition, and touched many hearts. But she also knew that the journey was not over. There were still more recipes to create, more people to inspire, and more dreams to fulfill. And as she closed the doors for the night, Mina smiled, ready to face whatever the future held. She had started with nothing but a dream, and now she had everything she had ever hoped for. A chance to make a difference, one meal at a time. Months had passed since Mina opened her new restaurant. Mina's kitchen had become a beloved place in the city. People came from different neighborhoods, some even traveling long distances, to taste the food that had won hearts and inspired countless stories. The restaurant was always busy, but Mina never let the success change who she was. She remained humble, kind, and passionate about her cooking. Every morning, Mina arrived early to prepare fresh ingredients. She checked the vegetables, washed them carefully, and arranged her kitchen so that every dish could be made with love and precision. Her staff respected her not only for her talent, but for the care she showed to everyone. She taught them that cooking was not just about skill, but about sharing happiness with others. Daniel Reed visited often, always smiling proudly. He had watched Mina grow from a small food stall chef to a city-renowned restaurateur. Her story had inspired many people who read his articles. He reminded Mina that her journey was extraordinary, not only because of her talent, but because of her heart. One morning, as Mina arranged bowls of her signature vegetable soup, she noticed a small envelope on the counter. It was a letter from a young woman who had visited the restaurant the week before. The letter read, "Dear Mina, I wanted to thank you for the meal I had at your restaurant. It was the first time in months that I felt happy. Your food reminded me of my grandmother's cooking. I hope you continue to share your kindness with the world. You have inspired me to follow my dreams too." Mina smiled warmly. Letters like this reminded her why she loved cooking. It was not about fame, money, or awards. It was about the people who felt joy, comfort, and love from her food. Her heart felt full. That afternoon, Daniel entered the restaurant with a special visitor. It was the same old man Mina had fed on the street months ago. Mina froze for a moment, remembering that night when she had given her last meal without expecting anything in return. "Hello, Mina," the man said gently. "I wanted to see you again." Mina's eyes filled with tears. "I remember you," she said softly. "I cannot believe you came back." The old man smiled. "I never forgot your kindness. That night you gave me hope and warmth when I needed it most, and now I see that you have shared that same love with the world. You have created something amazing." Mina felt a deep sense of gratitude. She realized that the small act of giving had come full circle. Her kindness had not only changed her life but had also touched others. That evening, the restaurant was filled with laughter, conversation, and the smell of delicious food. Mina moved from table to table, greeting customers and ensuring that every dish was perfect. People complimented her cooking, shared their stories, and praised the warmth of the restaurant. Mina listened carefully, feeling proud but also humble. She knew that all of this had started with a single act of kindness. A local news crew arrived to film a segment about the restaurant. Mina spoke calmly and confidently, explaining her journey from the small food stall to the successful restaurant. She shared the story of the old man she had helped, and the lessons she had learned about perseverance, hope, and generosity. The segment quickly became popular, and more people wanted to visit Mina's kitchen. The success allowed Mina to give back to the community, She started a small program to teach young people in the neighborhood how to cook. She wanted them to understand that cooking was not only a skill, but a way to bring joy to others. Mina spent hours with the students, showing them recipes, techniques, and most importantly, how to cook with heart. Daniel watched proudly as Mina guided the young chefs. "You have created more than a restaurant," he said quietly. "You have created a community, a place where people learn, grow, and feel inspired." Mina smiled. "I only want to share what I love. If I can inspire even one person to follow their dreams, it will be enough." As the months went by, Mina continued to innovate. She tried new recipes, explored different flavors, and added special seasonal dishes to the menu. Customers appreciated her creativity and the thought she put into every dish. Mina's kitchen became known not only for its taste but for the story behind every plate. One day, Mina received an invitation to participate in a national cooking event. The event brought together chefs from across the country to showcase their skills and share their stories. Mina felt nervous but excited. This was an opportunity to show her talent to a larger audience and share the journey that had brought her from a small stall to a beloved restaurant. With Daniel's guidance, Mina prepared carefully for the event. She selected her best dishes, refined the recipes, and practiced presenting them with care. She wanted to make sure that every taste told her story and carried the warmth she always put into her cooking. The day of the event arrived. Mina set up her station with precision and confidence. The judges tasted her dishes, asking questions about ingredients and preparation. Mina spoke about her journey, her struggles, and the small acts of kindness that had shaped her life. The judges were impressed not only by the flavors but by the heart she put into each dish. When the results were announced, Mina won the top award. She was recognized as one of the most inspiring chefs in the country. Her restaurant gained national attention, and people from all over wanted to experience her cooking. Mina felt a sense of fulfillment she had never imagined. That evening, as she returned to her restaurant, Mina looked around at the warm lights, the busy tables, and the happy faces. She realized that her life had changed completely. From a struggling chef with a small food stall to a nationally recognized restaurateur, she had achieved her dreams. But more importantly, she had done so while staying true to her values. Daniel entered the restaurant quietly and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Mina, look at what you have created," he said. "This is more than a restaurant. This is a place of hope, inspiration, and love. You have touched countless lives with your heart and your cooking." Mina smiled. "I could not have done it alone. I am grateful for every person who supported me, every customer who gave me a chance, and every moment of kindness that guided me along the way." That night, Mina closed the restaurant and sat quietly in the kitchen. She thought about her journey, the struggles, the long nights, the small food stall, and the homeless man who had unknowingly changed her life. She realized that every challenge had taught her something valuable, and every act of kindness had returned in ways she never expected. Mina whispered softly, "I started with nothing but a dream and a heart full of hope, and now I have more than I ever imagined. I am ready for whatever comes next because I will always cook with my heart." As the city lights shone outside, Mina felt peace and happiness fill her heart. She had achieved her dreams, touched lives, and inspired others. Her journey had proven that even small acts of kindness and perseverance could lead to extraordinary outcomes. Mina's story spread far and wide, inspiring people to follow their dreams, help others, and never give up. Her restaurant became a symbol of hope, a place where every meal told a story of passion, determination, and love. And so, the young chef who had once given her last meal to a stranger had created a life filled with success, kindness, and inspiration. Mina had proven that with a pure heart, hard work, and a little courage, even the smallest actions could create the greatest changes. Mina's kitchen continued to thrive, and Mina herself continued to grow, always remembering the values that had brought her this far. She had achieved her dreams, but more importantly, she had stayed true to herself, showing the world that cooking was not just about food, but about love, hope, and giving. Her journey from a struggling chef to a celebrated restaurateur was complete, but the story of Mina's heart and her kitchen would continue to inspire for generations. Mina had finally found her place in the world, not just as a chef, but as a symbol of what is possible when one cooks with love and never gives up.